Alright, hello everybody! So, this is me from the future recording gear upgrade videos that I should have recorded right when I got this, but it was night and I was tired. I didn't want to do some recording. So here I am now. We have a lot of changes on this character to talk about. Let's start with the first one. Okay, the first thing we needed to do was figure out what 6-link item to use, so we needed a chest piece for that. You know that we've been using Replica Comb's Heart up until this point, and that limits us to a 4-link socket on our glove setup. Right, so we swapped into a 6-link now. We decided to use Cloak of Defiance, and I'm going to tell you why in just a second. If you open up our passive tree, you'll know that we were doing the Glorious Vanity in this jewel socket over here, with Pain Attunement being the keystone that was being converted into, what's that even called? Corrupted Soul. Right, so we were doing that here, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points we were spending to get this up and running. Now, I wasn't really a big fan of that, so what I ended up doing, since we already pathed through this portion of the tree, that's 1 jewel socket, and we had Mind Over Matter before, so that's like 2 points spent here for Corrupted Soul instead of 6 over here. Now, the catch is, this is our Mind Over Matter keystone, right? So if we corrupt this area, we won't have Mind Over Matter from our tree. So that is why I picked Cloak of Defiance. We are getting Mind Over Matter from this unique chest, and because it's a unique, if we want to upgrade to a double corrupted version with good implicits, we have the option of doing that. Of course, it'll cost us a lot of money, but yeah, that's why I picked Cloak of Defiance. This item also has a ton of evasion, so that means we had to spec out of Unwavering Stance. So you'll know that we were over here, and we had all these nodes, we had some life nodes here, and some resistance nodes here, and of course we had Unwavering Stance, which makes you immune to stun, but also means that you can't evade attacks. This is incompatible with Cloak of Defiance. You'd just be wasting 2,000 evasion rating. We don't want to do that, right? This is a big amount of evasion. I mean, it's not huge, like, it's not an evasion build, but you can still see that our estimated chance to evade attacks from normal enemies is 36%. For having this chest piece and a couple evasion nodes. So that you know, that's like a nice defensive layer, and we don't want to waste that. So we ended up unspecking out of Unwavering Stance. We saved all of these points here. Huge bunch of points saved here. And that means that we need to find stun immunity elsewhere. How did we find stun immunity? Well, we got this jewel socket over here, and in this jewel socket is Immutable Force. Right, this gives you 934 increased stun and block recovery, and there is a special breakpoint you need to hit in order for stuns to basically feel like nothing. Like, the stun duration will be so short, or rather your stun recovery will be so high and the duration of the stun will be so short that it's like you're not even feeling the stuns. You're like, your character's just like, what, did I get stunned? I don't think so. So the breakpoint for this, thank you for Palstrone's video for explaining that, right? I looked up his Ice Nova of Archmage video, and he uses this. We need 961. So if I go to my Pantheon setup here, you'll see that Soul of the Brine King gives you 30% increased stun and block recovery. That means you need to buy yourself a jewel with at least 931 increased stun and block recovery. So 931 plus 30 from the Pantheon, that'll give you 961, and that'll put you at the threshold you need to be, you know, roundabout stun immune. So that is Immutable Force. We ended up buying that. So that fixed our stun immunity. It fixes our 6-link. What other things did we change on our gear? I don't think we changed the gear anymore, but we did have to make a couple of passive item changes. So the first thing you'll notice is that I went all the way up here, and I took these nodes over here. It's called Arcane Capacitor. Now, this isn't something I knew when I was making the build or the guide, but the 10% increased effect of Arcane Surge on you, as well as these increased effect of Arcane Surge nodes, they work with your Hierophant Uber Ascendancy. Let's load that up right here. You'll see here that Arcane Surge grants 20% more spell damage to you from Arcane Blessing. Yeah, that number is scaled by these 3 nodes, so that makes these really, really good for your damage, and I wish I knew that earlier, because I would have gotten these much sooner. So we spec'd into that. That's why we ended up in this side going for the jewel socket anyways. And while we were here, we also got the endurance charge. So now we have a total of 5 endurance charges. And we put a ring craft that gives us +1 to minimum endurance charges. Right? This is costs you 1 exalt. I think it is a suffix. So we're using that, and that is putting us at 5 endurance charges at all times. Very nice. So looking at the passive tree again, we ended up getting these, and I said we moved the Glorious Vanity from here to here. I had to buy myself another Glorious Vanity because this one that I had here didn't have any good stats when I moved it over here. So let's look at what stats I'm getting from this Glorious Vanity. I got Spell Suppression, Cold Damage, which isn't really useful, Critical Strike Chance, meh, Spell Damage, Attack Damage, which is completely useless, Spell Damage, Suppression, maximum mana, and spell damage and crit chance here. So it's a really good node, or sorry, jewel. It's not perfect. You can of course always get better seeds for the number. But like I said, you just want to find a jewel that is useful. Like you don't need to min-max this. Min-maxing it might cost you like a lot of money or your sanity. Like finding these timeless jewels and making sure that it works for your build in the first place is a really annoying process. So that's been done. And then what else did we do? With our passive tree, I noticed that everyone and their mother is using Unnatural Instinct in this little slot over here. So Unnatural Instinct is a unique Viridian jewel. It makes it so allocated small passives in the radius grant nothing, but it makes it so that... Whoa, hello boats. It also makes it so that it grants all bonuses of unallocated small passives in the radius. So if I remove this jewel that's kind of like muddying up this visual, you'll see here that in this little circle, alright, anything that I've allocated, these small nodes, so intelligence, strength, life, and life regen, they aren't giving me anything. But I'm getting all of these other nodes in the circle. So I'm getting maximum mana, I'm getting increased area of effect, I'm getting cast speed, so on and so forth. And if you hover over the jewel, it'll tell you exactly what it's giving you. So this is a very good bang for your buck jewel socket. Alright, not everything in this area is useful, but more on that in just a second. So once we have that set up, we came all the way down here, and then we bought ourselves the Light of Meaning Prismatic Jewel. So this, it has different roles on what you can get. I bought the Chaos Resist one. I think I paid a pretty penny for this, actually. And the reason I bought the Chaos Resist one is because when we get our Mage Blood and then we start shifting our gear around, I want to just basically forget about Chaos Resist, right? If you're trying to cap Chaos Resist and you are trying to get spell suppression gear with mana and all this crap, it's gonna cost way too much. Like, you're looking at, you know, hundreds of divines, I think. I don't really want to worry about that, so I'm just going to fix all of my Chaos Resist problems with this one jewel in this one socket. So if you look at our Chaos Resist, when I put this jewel in, you'll see that I go from 45 to 189. And of course, that's overcapped right now because we have Chaos Resist from our gear, but once I remove those gear pieces, you'll notice that it's still pretty high for our Chaos Resist. So for these 3 points, and the opportunity cost of not using another Light of Meaning here, I think people use the mana one here if they have their Chaos Resist solved by other means. We are getting a ton of Chaos Resist in this jewel socket, okay? And remember I said that like these nodes don't do anything with Unnatural Instinct? Well, they do because of the Light of Meaning in that same socket. So this big circle and this like little circle, that Venn diagram area, you're still getting the Chaos Resist from those nodes, which is super nice, right? And we have tons more nodes to fill out here. Like we have life nodes, if I wanted to, but honestly, like this tree is a little bit starved for passives. Yeah, like I thought I would do a cluster jewel setup. I don't know if that's going to be possible. I'll have to move some points around. You'll see here that I took some energy shield nodes while I save up for the cluster socket over there. So we'll have to see what happens there. We did come over here. We got Mage Bane. This is going to make your dexterity, give you some spell suppression. And then we got Reflexes, which is increased evasion, as well as spell suppression. And then right now, I don't know if this will change in the future, I ended up taking 100% of increased evasion rating from equipped body armor. That's why our evasion is at 5k with a 2k base. So that is very nice. Now, I think that's it. I think the other most important thing that we changed was our wand. We were using Moonsora before. Here's this wand that I got. So, cool story about this wand. I went to buy the base, okay? The base was a fractured base with tier 6 maximum mana. And I went to buy it for 1 divine, because the other ones with tier 1 maximum mana were like, you know, 10, 12, 15 divines. I was like, I'm not buying that for a progression upgrade, right? So I went to buy this for 1 divine, and the guy's like, bro, you can have it for free. And I'm like, seriously? So big shout out to Plain Jane. I don't know who you are. I don't know if you're watching, but thank you so much. You saved me a divine, and I made this sick wand thanks to you, and it is quite nice. So once we got the base, I ended up taking it to the Horde crafting station, and then I put it in here, and I did caster reforge. So that cost me 75 blue life essence each. So reforge a rare with random modifiers, including a caster modifier. That is how I got the increased spell damage and maximum mana roll. And then there was like some garbage mods on it that I tried to annul, and I hit the annuls. And then I did a multi-mod on it, and then I multi-modded spell damage and cast speed. Okay, and then I enchanted it with 30% spell damage with the rune smithing bench. So all in all, this is a huge upgrade from our Moonsword that we had before. It's still nowhere close to a best-in-slot wand. Those are very expensive for these builds. You have chance to deal double damage, you have a lot more spell damage, a lot more cast speed, and I think you have something called focus, and chance to deal double damage while focus. That's another button for you to press, and then when you press it, you'll do tons of damage, right? We're still using the Salful's Frame, Immortal Flesh, Death Rush, Itsuri's Foible. Oh, I mean, we did put on a anointment on Itsuri's Foible, so let's open up our passive skill tree. A very cheap and effective anoint to use on your amulet early game is Mind Drinker. This is great for mapping. It's not so good for bossing, because in bossing you're not killing a lot of things, but in maps, when you're killing lots of monsters, this will keep you topped up. So this will cost you a Verdant Teal Oil combination, and what you do if you don't have a Blight Premium Stash Tab is you go to Cassia, you go to Anoint Items, you put your item in here, and then you put the 3 oils, and that will give you the passive skill point on your amulet. Okay, so that's the anointments in a nutshell. I haven't anointed my rings because we're not doing the blight mechanic, and all our Eldritch Implicits are the same. For our 6th link, we are using Inspiration, Awaken Lightning Penetration. I had to buy that one. I've been leveling it. Spell Echo, Intensify, Archmage, and Ice Nova of Frostbolts. Alright, another big upgrade that we need to do is we need to get Awakened Spell Echo. That's like a couple hundred divines, I think, or at least 100 divines. So we need to save up for that. But yeah, that's it. That's all the gear upgrades. Oh, make sure that for the Pantheon, for Soul of the Brine King, to get that 30% increase stun and block recovery, you need to capture Purina, the Challenger. I think that's in the Atoll or Plateau map. I think it's one of the totems. So double check that. Make sure you have these upgraded. And yeah, that's all the gear upgrades we've made. And next up, we'll be getting Mage Blood, and then getting Mage Blood Flasks, and then getting Spell Suppression gear and a new wand upgrade. Lots more to do, lots more to grind. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. Up till this point in the series, it's been me in-game talking over things as I play it and as I experience it. This time, we're taking a step back and we're narrating over some footage I captured last night. Emphasis on night because the voiceover was very quiet, I couldn't really hear myself, and the vibe for this gameplay was all wrong. Alright, yesterday night we decided to do normal bosses. Bosses should be exciting, they should be high energy, they should be fun. Instead it was me whispering and trying not to wake people up. So, you get to hear me, during the day, talk over this footage instead. Let's get started. So, last night, we hit level 97, and I thought, hey, this is a good point to go do our last 2 Voidstones and get every favorite map unlocked. Well, almost every, because we couldn't do Feared, nor was I going to try with the current gear that we have. So everything went smoothly. I didn't really have any complaints. I will say that the weak points of the build start to show when you start pitting it up against tanky bosses, right? I did not get ailment immunity yet, so I was getting slowed, I was getting chilled, I was getting shocked, and I was just kind of getting blasted by mobs that would otherwise be very easy to handle in a normal mapping situation, right? Especially when your flasks run out, you really start to feel the pain. Alright, with that said, things still went pretty smoothly. As you can see in the footage that is occurring here, we did all of our invitations for Maven, except Feared. That unlocks a couple of points for our Atlas, and then we did Shaper, we did Elder, we did Cirrus, we did Cortex, and then we finished it up with Uber, Elder, as well as Maven. I managed to do it all deathless up until Maven, when I goofed the memory game twice and died for the very first 2 times on this character. So making it to level 97 without any deaths, that's a pretty big accomplishment for me. Alright, I'll take the wins as they come. Alright, killing Uber Elder and killing the Maven gets us our 2 final Watchstones. We are now 4 out of 4 Watchstones, and we are ready to do any mapping strategy that we can get our hands on. Alright, the last thing we needed to wrap this up was, of course, our 6th Scarab map slot device. And to do this, we had to go kill a boss in T17. I ended up picking Fortress. Fortress is probably the easier one, and then I used a Scarab of Bisection to remove the prefixes that made the boss deadly. So I was just kind of dealing with a map with no mods because the suffixes weren't really impacting the boss fight any. The fight went easy enough. I would say the only complaint is, of course, once again, I got slowed. And when you get slowed on this build, you can't cast. And if you can't cast, you can't move because Frostblink of Wintry Blast won't go off. And then you're just in for a world of hurt. Alright, we have a lot of improvements to make for this build. We are now in the end game. Alright, I'm going to go do some degenerate T17 strats maybe. I don't know. This build is definitely more suitable for mapping than it is for bossing. But we still have our challenges to do. We still need to kill the Uber bosses. And we can't do that with our current gear. So what I'm going to do next is grind out a Mage Blood. Right? Mage Blood is going to solve a lot of these pain points. Right? Since a lot of our power comes from flasks, having them always up during the boss fight is going to make it a little bit more easier. The other big thing we need is ailment immunity. Alright, getting shocked, getting chilled, that is an absolute no-no. If at all possible, I will find something to prevent action speed slows. That almost got me killed a couple times in the Uber Elder fight. So, lots of upgrades to make, lots of currency required to make those upgrades, so I'm going to go start farming. In the meantime, I'll leave you with what's left of this video. You can see me die to Maven, and maybe kill the T17 map boss. Thank you for watching, a short one today, but I'll see you soon with a Mage Blood.
Space aligns. Behold my collection.
I will have what I want. This will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. A cascade of pain.
Death made real.
Stand still. Why?
Resistance will be punished. Time contorts. Scurry, scurry.
My irritation is growing. Death will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. The prettiest piece makes them. Death will not be an escape. Scurry, scurry. The prettiest. Scurry, scurry. Stand still. A cascade of pain.
Alright. And there's a Maven. Oh my goodness. The Orb of Conflict is nice. Unfortunately, we did die 2 times. So that is the first 2 deaths on this character. Happened at 97 on the normal Maven fight. A little bit embarrassing, I messed up the memory game. Something I wasn't expecting, and something I would recommend that you have, either when you do Uber Maven or this fight, is chill immunity. Me trying to navigate this arena while constantly getting slowed just put me in a bad situation, and that got me killed a couple times. But there it is. There is Maven. We got our we got our 4th Void Stone. Right? I was trying to see how far I could make it on this character without dying. Maven got me, and she got me good. But there it is. There's 4 Void Stones. Look at that. Tasty. And we've also got all of our favorites done, except for the Feared. Alright, now that I've popped my cherry, I don't think I'm too afraid of the Feared. Alright, the last thing that we're going to do is our first T17. It's going to unlock your 6th and last map slot device. That way you'll be ready for all of the Scarab strategies that your heart desires. So for this, let's go ahead and put in the Fortress map, and it's important that you make sure you don't take any of your Atlas trees that have map effect, right? If this is your first T17, you want it to be easy, so don't take map effect modifiers. And what we can do is we can take a Scarab of Stability and a Scarab of Bisection. This is going to cut half of the mods from this T17, and this is going to give us extra portals. So let's go ahead, we'll nullify prefixes for this T17, and click Activate. So there it is. There is our Tier 17 map complete. And we got a little fragment. I'll have to keep that for later. And I guess we'll wrap it up by going to Kingsmarks and seeing what Sea Valor brought in. So these are the Scarabs that I get. Usually they're trash, but sometimes they're good, like this one right here, Horned Scarab of Pandemonium. We can do a price check on that. So currency exchange, and looks like one of our orbs sold. Very nice. So if I click I want Chaos, you'll see that it's about 65 Chaos. So let's go ahead and put that for sale. Right, and that was just for 30 minutes of sending Sea Valor into the Ribbon Fell with 5 Verisium bars. On the bright side, we have the Atlas fully complete. We have our favorite maps unlocked, and we also have all our invitations done. Now we can't see that quite yet, but if you go to our map device, we have all our invitations done, except of course the Feared. Right? So, next up, we're going to go make tons of money, because that's how we're going to get upgrades for this character. You can see that I already have some money saved up. So we've got 25 Divines, 1,400 Chaos Orbs, 2 Power Runes, this Amulet that's worth 7 Divines, and some Watcher's Eyes from Normal Elder. Alright, with that said, I will see you guys soon. We'll do a slash plate, I suppose. Okay, so our slash plate is 2 days, 2 hours, 9 minutes, and 51 seconds. Not bad at all, and we're already 97. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time when we have a Mage Blood.